Hey my friends, welcome back. Today, you can tell I'm in the zoo right now and we've been working diligently behind the scenes. There's all sorts of stuff. You can kind of get a peek at one of the things that's kind of happening. I'm kind of OCD, so I kind of have to draw everything out and kind of get a visual of what it looks like. I'm very, very visually driven, but there's lots of stuff that's been happening and I can't wait to share the next update with you guys down the road. But that's not the topic for today. Today, I got a phone call and I had to rush over to my post office and pick up another package. This is an animal I've been trying to get for a while, and these animals came all the way from Europe. And when the opportunity, they wanted to send them to me, I was like, yep, we're gonna take those right away, and that's no problem because we can set them up easily downstairs until the zoo's ready for them. But when we get them set up in the zoo, they're gonna get a nice large enclosure because these animals are truly, truly fascinating animals. This is an amphibian. You don't have a lot of amphibians, but this is an amphibian. It's probably without question, one of the most cryptic amphibians in the world. And it's absolutely fascinating. So my dear friend Ashely over at Northern Lights Reptiles, thank you very much for taking care of this and shipping this with Reptile Express. It's the only method in North America for shipping reptiles consistently, without any issue, without any problems whatsoever. So kudos to both you guys. I'm truly, truly fortunate to have gotten this. This is a pair. There's a male and female pair in here. And as I said, they came all the way from Europe. Let's take a peek and see what we got. All right, let's get these guys opened up and how well they fared in their travels. As I say, these were brought in all the way from Europe, but they've been in our care for a bit, and so they're nicely established. Now, based on the thumbnail, many of you may know very well what species this is in question. And this is a species that has been readily available in the pet trade for a long time. However, in the pet trade, it's only ever been available generally as wild-caught imports. And very, very few efforts have been put out to be able to captive breed this species. But frogs, and I'll put a video up here in question in regards to that I filmed at the Vancouver Aquarium a while back, but frogs and amphibians in general, globally, are facing an incredible, incredible threat. And they're in massive, massive decline. So if you're keeping anything from a frog to a newt to anything at all like that, that's an amphibian. They desperately are in need of our help and our care to ensure these species are around for generations again. Now, the species in question is the Malaysian horned frog. Now, the Malaysian horned frog is, as I say, it comes from Asia. It's an Asian species, and it lives on the forest floor, and it is a truly, truly unique amphibian. They have such cryptic coloration, it helps them blend right into the forest floor. Now, this is one of them. Which one do you think that is? And here is the other one. Look at the size difference between these two. They are absolutely massive compared between one and the other. Now, they are sexually dimorphic. This one is the male, and this one is the female. I think they're absolutely fascinating, and they look really, really good. They shipped really, really well. So let's go ahead and see if we can get these guys set up properly. These are species that come from the rainforests of Southeast Asia, including southern Thailand, Peninsular Malaysia, Singapore, Sumatra, and Borneo. So being a forest floor dweller, it inhabits the forest floor all amongst the leaf litter, and that cryptic pattern, that coloration, gives it a bit of an advantage of being fully camouflaged. So to start off, we're going to be putting in a good solid base of my substrate mix. My substrate mix, as you guys have seen in many, many videos, is a very, very organic, loose, loamy substrate. I use it for all my vivariums and builds and so forth. Now, this particular species, as I said, it's a forest floor specialist. They are a terrestrial frog, but they're a species that, in this area where it lives, it's very, very cool. It is constantly wet or damp. So they need to have incredibly high humidity all the time. So when we put them into their permanent enclosure, and this enclosure right here, as you can see, this is about a 36-inch by 24-inch by 24-inch tall, giant Rubbermaid style tote, a clear tote. We want to somewhat recreate their environment as best we can. So as they come from Malaysia, what better way to mimic that type of a habitat than a nice big stump of Malaysian driftwood? This will give some shelter. As you can see, it's got a nice large opening there. It gives some sort of shelter for the female, but it also present and provide kind of a visual barrier should they want to be separate from each other. So we're going to kind of put a little bit of soil in there. And that way they've got lots of room to move around it. We do have other things, such things as cork bark. I do have a piece of cork bark here we can use as well. That might help for one of them to try and get away. If maybe the male's a little bit smaller and he chooses to try and get away in a different manner, he can use that. Now, because we want to mimic that forest floor, the other aspects that I'm going to be using is a lot of different types of moss. So I've gone and taken all my forest moss and I've been soaking it overnight in reverse osmosis water. Now, I live out in the country, so my water, my natural water source comes from a well, and I have very, very hard water. So by using reverse osmosis water, it eliminates all the hardness and mineral content, calcium, magnesium, and so forth, out of the water source, and it makes it a little bit more neutral. Should you live in an urban area or something like that, and you've got nice soft water, that'll work just as well. But for me, this is kind of what I need to do. And I think overall that is going to meet our needs very, very well. So that is our kind of our forest floor. And then the things we're definitely going to want to add in is we're going to want in, this is a species that you will often find inhabiting areas very, very close to a water source. So I want to try and find a way to provide that water source. So give it a nice big dish. And this will need to be refreshed daily to make sure that they always have clean water available. When we do put them into their final enclosure, their big enclosure, we will probably more than likely maybe even provide such like a water feature or something, because you'd often find this species near water, near a stream or something like that. But for the next step, I think we want to add in some life. So in my propagation tubs, I've been growing many different types of ferns and so forth. So this is a nice, unique little colorful fern. It's got a nice color, a nice bronzy color to it. I think this will be a nice addition to it. I'll go and put that in here somewhere. And I'll give them some sort of another aspect of shelter. Tap that one in nice. We're going to water it all down really, really well shortly. But that'll give them some nice visual barriers. And then I think I also have some different types of things like button ferns we can use here. And same thing, just it provides a nice bit of visual interest for the animals in question. Gives them a bit of shelter, makes them feel a bit more at home. And the nice humid environment is absolutely ideal for these type of plants. Now, the one last thing, and probably one of the most important things about the feature of this type of an animal, is in fact leaf litter. And as you know, it's called the Malaysian leaf frog for a reason, because it kind of tends to blend in with its environment. Almost anything you're going to put into this environment, be it live plants or so forth, they're probably generally going to just get trampled by the animals. So, you know, choose your plants a little bit more wisely. Now we can add some oak leaf litter to it as well. So, overall, I think that meets your needs very, very well. Maybe a couple of little seed pods, maybe for visual interest. Maybe a monkey pot. Sure, why not? So, I think we've gone and done exactly what we need. Now for water source, as we mentioned, we want to use straight RO water. So I've got my reverse osmosis water here. And I might just go and add a little bit to this monkey pot. And then I think I'm just going to generally kind of, this will dampen down the substrate a little bit. And then we're going to go mist it in really, really well as well. Now, as I said, before we go and add any of the animals in, we want to give everything a good solid moistening.
Moist.
Water in those plants really, really well. Now let's see if we can go ahead and get these guys landed. So first up is this one here. So as mentioned at the beginning, we did receive a sexed pair of these frogs. So the first one up, which one do you think it is?
don't really know. But these animals are truly sexually dimorphic, and you can tell them apart. Now, one thing of note is that we are dealing with an amphibian. And as you can see there, is that I use gloves. Amphibians, unlike reptiles, have a very permeable skin. So anything like lotions, creams, anything like that, these are things that can be toxic to these animals and can travel through their permeable membranes of their skins. So these animals need to be handled slightly differently. There we go. There's one. Right to the water source. And let's see what the other one looks like. And as you can clearly see, there's considerable size difference between the sexes. This larger one is the female. And they are generally 2 to 3 times the size of the males. She is absolutely incredible. Now these horns that they're known for, the horned frogs, they actually contain no bone whatsoever. They're just modified appendages. And these horns serve as a primary form of camouflage, helping these frogs blend in with the leaf litter and debris of the forest floor. The Malayan horned frog is truly a marvel of evolution. And these incredible physical features and habits make it virtually impossible to detect amongst the leaf litter in its endemic range. Just look at that female. She is just stunning. And of course, true to form, of course they're going to run away and hide as soon as they get here. There she goes there. Here she is giving us a wink.
Now the region that this species inhabits, as I mentioned, is fairly cool. So we want to be able to keep these guys at a threshold of no more than about 24, 25 degrees Celsius. Ideally cooler at night as well. That's when they're going to come out the most and explore and look for food. Now, food for these guys is relatively easy in captivity, as they're going to be eating crickets and roaches and mealworms and all sorts of things, earthworms. So there should be no problem to feed. There she is out and about exploring her environment. You can see how, if you're walking in the forest floor in those regions, this would be an animal that just you wouldn't even know it's there. It would just vanish in its habitat. So we've gone and met all the needs of the animals. Nice, cool, moist environment, lots of leaf litter, lots of shelter, access to clean water. I think we've done a great job today. So please let me know in the comments what you guys think of this setup. Again, this is just a temporary setup for these amazing animals. But we're going to build a nice, gorgeous enclosure long-term for them once we get into the building. But for now, that's it for today, my friends. Thank you kindly for watching. Take care.